Why did the pirate cross the road? Hey you beautiful buccaneers, Falcore here. So if you're a new player or even an old player, you've probably taken part in one of the many adventures Sea of Thieves has been bringing out lately, the most recent of which the Dark Deception, which turned out to be a precursor to the Monkey Island Tall Tales. The adventures themselves have always been a bit of hit and miss. While some were really enjoyed by the community, such as the Shrouded Deep, which had us finally face off a complete sack of lies, and did it in a way which was reminiscent of the original Hungering Deep DLC, or the Secret Wilds that really captured the spirit of adventure within the game world. There were others, however, that just didn't hit the mark at all, like Forts of the Forgotten, which is kind of aptly named as I'm betting you forgot about that one, or The Hunter's Cry, which could have been an amazing piece of storytelling, but it just turned out to be a TDM arena. Although some of these adventures have been fun, they've always fallen victim to one of the biggest bits of feedback from the community: the fact that they are time limited. Well, I can reveal some good news on that very subject alone. That's all about to change. In a recent podcast, the developers shared some information about adventures moving forwards which will be coming back to the freebie shelves after the Monkey Island Tall Tales. The main focus of adventures will be changing. Up until now, most of the effort has been going into the narrative style of adventures. And you know what I mean by that. 20 minutes of sailing to one island to hear an NPC say something, followed by another 20 minutes of sailing to another island to hear another NPC say something. Although I love a good prelude and backstory to an adventure, I feel like that focus was starting to get a little tedious. And I'm sure we can all agree. The main reason this always seems so tedious is because of the cost to make these things work. It's quite a costly and time-consuming thing to have voice actors create lines for a game world, especially once a month. So the focus was lying too much on a narrative in a literal term rather than the narrative in a storytelling term. In adventures to come, the focus will be mainly on the gameplay elements. Do you remember in past adventures where they brought something into the game and people thought, wow, this is cool, this should stay, and then it didn't? As an example, the Reaper rowboats, or the beacons that could be lit at all of the forts during Return of the Damned. Just really great sandbox mechanics and tools that were instantly wiped as a result of the adventure being time exclusive. Well, in adventures moving forwards, they will be permanent, repeatable quests that people can go on, that will add extra tools to the game and possibly expand the sandbox, but with the storyline slapped on top. Think of it this way, the adventures up until now have all been about the cinematic approach. A massive build-up, a YouTube video showcasing the storyline, 2 to 3 weeks of content, and then instead, the gameplay of adventures will focus on the story as part of the gameplay, rather than the gameplay focusing on the storyline. A great example of this is the most recent Mystery, where you'd be given a journal and have to go on a massive treasure hunt. Okay, so probably not the best example as these quests gave you literally no storyline, but the point I'm trying to make is the focus will be more on the gameplay, rather than the big sparkly voice-acted cinematic inside and outside of the game that costs Rare a lot to produce. Plus, the adventure itself will remain in the game to repeat at any time. I can see this as a great way for the developers to add extra tools to the sandbox and continue to evolve the storyline without having to spend too much time investing on voice acting and creating elaborate cinematics. Like I said in my last video, this very much feels like going back to the roots of what made the storyline so compelling in Sea of Thieves, getting that grey matter moving in our brains rather than having our hands held every step of the way. Also, I'm calling it out now, we'll save Guybrush from Melee Island and he'll become the new NPC at every outpost to gift out these new adventures. I'm calling it. Thanks for watching, peeps. Before I go, I just want to shout out the wonderful people over at Apex Gaming PCs. They have been a sponsor for the channel and the hardware behind the channel's production for a long time now. They offer some great builds for people who haven't got the foggiest how to build a custom setup. You can either pick from a bespoke line that will tell you the sort of games you can play in HD, or you can do a little research of your own and craft your very own rig. Plus, if you use code Falcore at checkout, you can save some cash, and all links are down below. But until next time, calm seas and wind in your sails.
Peace.